Off and running on a Monday we go. Welcome inside the vault. It's July 21st. I'm Bobby Trossett. She's Sarah Ellison. So good to be with you. And today, of course, is brought to you by thevaultpod.com. It's our newest merch line. It's our newest apparel line, and it drops to the public coming up on Wednesday at midnight. So really Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. We really look forward to that. And we look forward to all the content that we have coming up today, including Sarah, Marcus Williams, former Ravens safety, who is still unsigned at this point in the process. It's getting down the wire right now. He broke his silence after last year's benching. So we'll run through the notable clips in his recent conversation with Teron Armstead and get into everything that came along with that, because obviously this was a polarizing player last year for a number of reasons in terms of his on-field play. He handled himself really well off the field and through the media. After that, we'll take a look at perhaps some last-minute speculation that exists right now, Sarah, in terms of those, speaking of last-minute signings that the Ravens could potentially be in store for as training camp gets underway. We'll have quick hits and a number of other things, but we would be remiss if we didn't begin with, man, we've just been hit on all social media accounts, including BaltimoreRavensVault at gmail.com, our email with merch starting to make its way, trickling into folks at their doorstep. Sarah, I know your package arrived last week. Mine's coming in the next couple days, but here's Lewis and Justin Holt rocking. Justin's got the beanie, and Lewis has got a beanie as well, and they both got what looks like Lewis has the T-shirt and the beanie. Justin has the beanie, but it's been pretty cool to see these start to trickle in across our different networks.
I think we'll get a lot more too. I can already see people in the live chat talking about how theirs is on their way. Douglas H. Brown, who seems to be getting us, he's been on a more than a week-long streak getting us going with gifted Vault memberships plus tons of super chats. He emailed us over the weekend. And by the way, Douglas, we've read all your emails. It is so nice to get to know you better. And now I know, Bobby, when that Douglas H. Brown Sr. comes up, I know what the senior stands for. I know his life story, and I love it. Like Rave Kingdom, PHP, everybody sending us their life stories. We love it. We love to get to know the chat better.
Couldn't agree more. He's been active this morning. 5 channel memberships were gifted 30 minutes before the show even began. He says, hope everyone's getting stoked for the season, for us going 20-0. Hello, Sarah and Bobby. And partner, you're right. It was really a heartfelt email that he gave to us, and we appreciate that. And by the way, he feels like we're his honorary children, so we'll take that to the bank because he seems like a great dude. Colin checking in here on X. He tagged us, which was awesome. We hope you guys do the same as you start to receive your packages. He says, got my shirt, and this actually made me chuckle. Got my hat and shirt today. Everything fits great and looks good, but I need a fresh cut and shave before I take one with them on. Definitely wearing both to the home opener, which gets us fired up, baby. Thank you, Colin, and thanks to everyone who has participated in our soft launch week. It begins, I should say, it trickles into this week, and then everybody will have access to thevaultpod.com coming up on Wednesday. With that, let's transition into Marcus Williams, Sarah's first interview, really since the Ravens allowed him to walk. Or
they cut him. They cut him. They've got more than $6 million in dead money because they cut him.
Right. Yeah. Right. Whereas others just left and walked in free agency, like a Brandon Stevens. Marcus Williams, that 5-year, $70 million contract that the Ravens uncharacteristically splashed in several years ago. He does not fulfill the ending of essentially they allowed it to. They cut him before it expired. There you have it. He had more time in Baltimore, but it comes to an end. We all know why. But here is Marcus's side. Teron Armstead, active player in the National Football League, has a YouTube channel. This is where you can find this full conversation. But I went ahead, Sarah, and snipped it into 3 different clips, one of which begins with Marcus's side. And it's a bit lengthy here, but here it is. We'll break it down on the other side in terms of what went wrong last year for Marcus Williams.
I just think it was just a lot of miscommunication from the top down. There's a lot of stuff on my side that I could have done better. Of course, I take accountability for whatever action that I did that they didn't like, but I didn't know what actions those were. But I take accountability for maybe missed opportunities, maybe missed plays that I could have done better on. But as far as the communication from the top down, I feel like it could have been better. They could have communicated properly and effectively so that there was no miscommunication when, the switch was going to occur. I mean, I played football for a long time. You don't just get bad overnight. And most people on the outside will believe that plays that were given up may have been on me, but they don't really know the depths of the coverage or what we were actually running, what we were told. They don't really know. But as a safety, my responsibility is to do whatever I can to show up in the screen and maybe possibly make a play. Yeah, I never throw anybody under the bus. I just try to keep it cool, and hopefully when you go in the meeting room, the coaches address it. And unfortunately, like when things happened last year, it wasn't addressed in that magnitude. So it all just ultimately somebody had to take the fall because the media's looking at it, the fans are looking at it, and somebody has to take the fall for what's going on. And even though it may not be my fault, I'm not going to come out and say, hey, this is such and such person. So for me, I wrote on my board, like every year, every week, I write on the board my goals, and I just said never lose my peace. Like nobody could take my peace, nobody can, bring me down, no matter what. Yeah, I was frustrated, upset about what was going on, but they were never going to take my peace, because once somebody takes your peace, they control you, and nobody's going to control me. So at the end of the day, I know what I could do. I know that I'm, if not the best safety in the league, I'm one of the best, and there's a lot of great safeties out there, but I just know what I could do personally as a safety. And when the change was made and there was no communication, it hurt. Get benched for a game and to be told like you just need to take a break, and just to come back the next game ball and then get sat again, it didn't make sense to me. But I didn't point the finger. I didn't say it was this guy. I didn't say it was that guy. I didn't say it was a coach. I said I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna just keep it G. I ain't gonna say nothing about nothing in the media. It's all about the team. I don't want to make any distraction for my team, because I want us to be the best that we could be, and I want us to win. If we win, I'm happy. But it sucks sitting on the bench when you know what you could do. Make plays in practice. You go out of practice, you're making plays versus the best quarterback in the league, right? But you're not in the game. So, I just kept doing everything I could. I approached everything as a pro, and that's just how I present myself, and that's what I try to teach my kids at my facility.
Okay, Sarah. So that is the opening clip of a few that we have here in his recent sit down with Teron Armstead, offensive tackle in the league. Both are unsigned. I think that's an important piece to begin with here. Marcus Williams remains unsigned, Sarah, at 28. And as you mentioned there, the Ravens cut him. Did not fulfill that contract that he signed in the 2022 or 2021 offseason. 5 years, $70 million. And the elephant in the room, too, that we got to address is the Ravens defense on the back end got better after his benching. He does not have a lot to stand on in terms of what they were when he was a starter and what they became after he and Eddie Jackson were in the rear view. So your opening thoughts on that clip.
Well, let me start with grace before I get to the bottom line. Number one, Zach Orr himself said that Marcus Williams took the benching like a pro. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but he is correct that he didn't make a stink publicly. So I definitely give him that. He talked about how sometimes fans and media don't really know whose assignments are what. And so you assume that it's Marcus or somebody else because they're the nearest by there. That happens sometimes, but there's a lot of good film study people, and not everything was wrong all the time. But he is right that not everybody knows the assignments and all that. So I'll give some grace there. I also say that I'm sure there was some bad miscommunication. We know that happens with first-year defensive coordinators, which is what Zach Orr was. We knew that we needed to give him grace going into it, and things got better throughout the year. Plus, we should also note this. The Ravens did not re-sign Doug Mallory, who was the secondary coach, and they did not re-sign assistant head coach and our defensive pass coordinator, Hewitt. So both of them have moved on. And so maybe there were some miscommunications. Not going to say that there weren't. Okay. So that's all the grace I can give. And we'll get to this in just a minute from Cole Jackson. basically, well, whatever. We've got it on the screen. We'll just do it. Cole Jackson, who, has sources. He's been right before. He's actually been right quite often. He tweeted after these clips came out. He said, from what I heard, Marcus Williams hated Doug Mallory. Again, that was the secondary coach, and they bickered constantly. It's a huge reason for the fall. But if you're going to go on a podcast and call out an organization, be real about the reason. The timing of the bench decision is irrelevant when bad play came first. And so maybe there was all that behind the scenes. He and Doug Mallory didn't get along. Neither one of them have returned. That's the bottom line. Okay, so that's the grace I'm going to give Marcus Williams. That being said, Bobby, listening to that clip, he's definitely is talking out of both sides of his mouth a little bit here, where on one end he says, I take accountability. And then he says, but I don't know what I'm taking accountability for. Like, what? Like, that's not really taking accountability. Like, go talk to your coaches. Don't bicker. Like, that's not real accountability. Bobby, if I've wronged you and you're upset with me and I say I take accountability, but I have no idea what I did wrong, but I take accountability, that's not taking accountability. He said he would never throw anybody under the bus, but he obviously threw his coaches under the bus by saying the communication was bad. He never pointed to any single person. He never said Doug Mallory. He never said John Harbaugh. He never said Zach Orr. He never named a teammate. So that's all true. But he also later on in the podcast, which I don't think you have clipped, said, ooh, when I'm done with football, I'm going to tell everybody everything. Okay, well, that to me just says you're not throwing him under the bus because you're still trying to get a job. And that wouldn't look good. But if you weren't trying to get a job elsewhere, you would be throwing them under the bus because you said later on that you will. That you will say everything that went on. That? How?
It's interesting. So it's interesting that you say that because that is absolutely one interpretation of how he said that.
Okay.
I actually went in a different direction in the sense that, and we're both speculating, but I felt like Marcus was saying that sometimes in today's day, analysts do not call it spade a spade. And when he has football behind him, he's going to tell it like it is when it comes to the assignments, when it comes to divvying up blame. That's the way that I interpreted it. I think you could go either way.
Well, I feel like we interpreted it the same way. He's going to explain it all of whose assignments was what, where he wasn't wrong, where somebody else was wrong, whether it's for the media to get the media straight or to clear his name. He's saying he's going to reveal it all.
But were you suggesting the situation that happened in Baltimore that led to his demise in Baltimore? He's gonna share everything that he's not willing to right now, or are you just talking about in general?
I'm sure it's his whole career, which will include Baltimore.
Okay. Anyway, it's not that it matters, but yes, that was.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I don't have that.
Listen,
that was later on.
At the end of the day, all of this doesn't matter because the bottom line is this. And it's this. I'll start with this. How the miscommunications went down, whether he was bickering with Doug Mallory or not, whether it was Zach Orr's fault for real or whether it was Marcus Williams. Here's the bottom line. Weeks 1 through 10, when he was playing, now he did get benched. He got benched for game 8 after a horrendous game 7 against the Bucs, where the Ravens eked out a win in the shootout over the Bucs. He was benched for week 8, and then he came back for 9 and 10 and didn't play well. So week 11 is when his benching and Eddie Jackson's and a few other changes came down. But week 11, he no longer played. He had 2 defensive snaps from week 11 on. In weeks 1 through 10, when he was starting a majority of the time, the Ravens scoring defense ranked 25th. The total defense was 27th. The pass defense was 32nd, very last in the league. The third down percentage was 30th. Red zone defense was tied for 20th, and opposing passer rating was 26th. After the changes were made by the top up, so the top didn't change. Zach Orr didn't change. Mallory didn't change. And Hewitt didn't change. They went on and became first in scoring defense, first in total defense, first in pass defense, first in third down percentage, first in red zone defense, and first in opponent passer rating. So all this other stuff that he's mentioning here, that may give some context, But the bottom line is he put blame on miscommunication from the top up, says he sort of takes accountability, although he doesn't know what he's taking accountability for. But at the end of the day, when the Ravens made those changes, including benching him, the turnaround of the defense was drastic. So we can talk about everything else all day long, but this is the bottom line. This is the bottom line. Here's his numbers according to PFF. And of course, they are somewhat speculating on whose assignments are what, but I think they get it right more often than they get it wrong. So I think this is directionally correct. Those first 3 weeks were woof for him, Bobby. Kansas City, Las Vegas, and at Dallas, he gave up Kansas City 2 receptions for 46 yards, 20 yards of yak. Las Vegas, 3 receptions for 51 yards, 17 yards of yak. Dallas, 3 receptions for 55 yards, 17 yards of yak, and 1 touchdown. Things got better. Then there was the Tampa Bay game. He gets benched week 8, comes back week 9, gets 2 more chances, gives up a touchdown against Denver, and then Cincinnati. Remember that shootout which the Ravens barely eked out? He gave up 3 receptions for 82 yards, 28 yards in yak, a long of 70, and 1 touchdown. So, like, we can talk communication all day long, but the facts are the facts. The defense got better when the Ravens made the changes. It was the same coaching staff. The players had changed, and it drastically improved to number 1 in the league weeks 13 through 18 when they made those changes among the players.
Not a lot of ground to stand on. And to go back to my initial comment off the top, it's July 21st. Training camps begin this week for veterans all across the league. He's unsigned at 28. It's just, it's tough. If you're Marcus, it's tough. You appreciate him speaking on it and trying to take accountability, even though I agree with you that it wasn't exactly as genuine as you would have hoped for. But that's not all that he said. There's a couple more clips from this recent conversation with Teron Armstead. And Teron asked him, these guys are buddies dating back to earlier on in their career with New Orleans. I believe Teron just spent the last couple of years in Miami. Yeah, the last several years in Miami. He's unsigned right now. But Marcus is sort of a quiet guy for the most part. Doesn't do a lot on social media. Doesn't choose to go through the media all that often either. And Teron wanted to know why, and if that sometimes leads to some confusion or maybe even misleads fan bases about who he really is. So here's Marcus on that.
I think most people see me as like, they don't see me in the media, they don't see me clapping back or talking back in the media, and they're like, oh, he don't care. But there's one thing I do is I care, and I'm overly competitive. I'm about my business. I do everything the right way. So to do stuff the right way, to treat people the right way, to practice the right way, to watch film, to do everything the right way, it hurts when there's a lack of communication. And that's what I was most hurt about. I could have done with, hey, you know what, you've been doing this wrong, and then sit me, opposed to, hey, you're done, right? But if I come out and start, bashing my teammates, bashing my friends, then I'm a cancer in the locker room, and I don't want to be that type of guy. So I just keep it on the hush. I'm not a flashy person. I'm not a big talker. But when I'm probably done with football, I'm gonna be the one saying, like, this is what happened, this is how it happened, and I'm gonna just keep it real, because nobody really knows what's really going on in the locker room besides the people in the locker room, unless that person says it. And once you do that, you're a cancer to the team.
Okay, Stan corrected. I did have that clip in there, as you heard there at the top, what we were just mentioning a couple minutes ago about being able to tell all almost, once his football career is over. And by the way, let me clarify. I forgot Teron Armstead did retire back in April. So I called him an active NFL player. He retired back in April. But Sarah, this conversation, I know we both agree on this based on our pre-show meeting, reeked of, can we generate a little bit of interest for this guy? He's unsigned. Right. It's July. He's 28. He feels like he's got more left to give. There's been a lot of noise and conversation and dialogue about him in recent months. Let's see if we can get some interest going.
Right. I mean, that's exactly what he's trying to do. It's just, these things are so tough. It's like, he's in a situation where he wants to talk, but isn't talking. right?
Correct.
And so like he obviously wants to be, he's obviously holding off because he doesn't want to be perceived as a cancer in the locker room, which is smart. And this isn't nearly as bad as why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden? Ravens wide receiver Deontay Johnson. Not nearly as bad as that. It was like almost like, okay, you talking about it is only making it worse. And like at this point, him like halfway talking about it, I don't think is helping. Like if you have like a legit thing to say, then say it and maybe it'll help you. But if you don't, then it's probably best to be like, hey, his final message is good. Like that probably future teams will like. But it's kind of one of those things where he's trying to have like the best of both worlds, where he's like, I'm not going to talk, but I am talking. Like it's not you're using me as a scapegoat. And maybe he is. There were other changes they made, right? Don't forget they also benched Trenton Simpson. Like I said, they're not bringing back the 2 secondary coaches. Eddie Jackson didn't make the fix. Like there was a lot going on, and Zach Orr was a first-year coordinator. So maybe there were other things, and maybe he's taking an outsized portion of the fall, although I think he's obviously part of it. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, if you can't talk, maybe you shouldn't even go there, because then it's just like, I don't know if you're making anything better.
Well, you mentioned that message, and that's what he was asked about in our final clip here, a message to really Ravens Nation, and perhaps doing his best to leave things on a good foot, I should say. Here is that final clip.
Appreciate them. I appreciate all the fans. I appreciate the coaches. I appreciate them giving me the opportunity. I appreciate them blessing me. It's a blessing to be able to play for the Ravens, a great organization. Many of greats have come through there, and I'm very appreciative of them. I mean, they blessed me and my family, and you know, I wouldn't change doing any of that for the world, because ultimately I got paid, and you know, I feel like I played through injuries over there. I went through a torn pec, dislocated my wrist, and I still played, and I still had great play. So to have a dislocated wrist, come back in the same year, get a pick the first game I come back, then the next year tear my pec, no surgery, only missed 3 games, come back, I put it all on the line for the Ravens.
Come back, AFC Championship game,
and play in the AFC Championship. I played throughout the whole year, hurt, tore pec, and at the end of the day, I know what I brought to the table. I'm hungry. I'm never giving up. I'm never backing down. And no matter what adversity I'm faced with, I know I'm going to overcome it. So whatever they did, whatever happened last year, I know I'm just going to overcome that, because there's people that have worse stuff going on in the world than me getting benched in football. So I know I'm going to overcome that as well.
Sarah, there's no question that 2023 was a display of resilience and toughness and everything that allowed him to somehow play, even though it wasn't all that effective through that torn pec. But I don't think 2023 is what we're talking about. It's what went awry through 10 weeks last year, and really was the big difference in seeding and why the Ravens had to go to Buffalo in a lot of ways, because of their horrid start to the year for more than half the season on the back end. That's what this is about. Nobody's questioning his toughness from 2023. I can remember certainly thinking before we learned of the torn pec, Sarah, man, this guy's making a lot of business decisions out there. This guy's lacking some desire, lacking some physicality. And once you learned of the severity of what he was dealing with, you got to tip your cap to him. But that's not what this is about.
Right. You can do both, right? Tip the cap for all the injuries he played through, for sure. And that's the message he wants to get out, and that's a great message at the end of the day. And then but then he tried to blame, like, people thought he had a lack of like love for the game based off of his media interviews, and I don't think that's it. Like, it was like, wasn't it Jimmy Smith who came on a pregame show and said he just isn't tackling, he doesn't even put any effort in, all that kind of stuff. And so, like, if he's trying to give a message out to like 31 other GMs, like, it's like, you're not going to fool them by saying, oh, people thought I didn't love the game because of my media interviews. Like, they're going to flip on the tape, and they're going to probably see what Jimmy Smith saw, and that there wasn't like complete effort when it came to tackling and this and that. And maybe there were some reasons for it and whatnot, but at the end of the day, what's on tape is on tape, and he can say it was somebody else's fault, or it was the miscommunication, this and that. And so you might be right, and you might convince some GMs and some scouts to go look at the tape, and they'll do that, and they'll make a decision. And I hope he gets picked up. And at the end of the day, we're all going to see what happens with Marcus Williams, and I wish him the absolute best. Hope he gets picked up. He talks about how he thinks he's still one of the best safeties in the league. He's going to have to prove that to be true, and the Ravens are going to have to prove that it was correct for them to move on from him, to cut him early, and to go and use a first-round draft pick on Malachi Starks, and that it was the right move to go get Chuck Pagano, and it's the right move to continue with Zach Orr. Both have the opportunity to prove themselves. Like you said, he's only 28. I hope he does get a chance to prove those things. The Ravens can prove that they've made the right moves, and hopefully they both have those opportunities.
And that, I'm guessing, is the last time that we'll be talking on Marcus Williams in depth for quite some time. I don't know when the next time would be.
Maybe if he has a sweet game with a pick six or something. Who knows? Maybe it'll come up.
Maybe just maybe. We appreciate you guys for being with us on this Monday. Over 1,500 concurrents. Veterans report to camp. And in under 24 hours from now, Chris McAllister, Super Bowl champion and former Ravens corner, Sarah, is going to be joining us live at 12:30 Eastern on Tuesday. Very much looking forward to that. And a special thanks. Tomorrow, correct. Tuesday, the 22nd. Looking forward to that. And a special thanks to Be More Around Town for helping us coordinate that. And before we get to Super Chats, thevaultpod.com is made available to everyone in the public coming up on Wednesday to celebrate the opening of camp. And last week, Sarah, Carly was getting after it, and she made sure to immediately add a couple additions after we've received some requests from you guys. So now you got some Vault Under Armour polos available to you in a number of different colors. You got the dry fit t-shirt that comes along with it. So perfect for this time of year, depending on where you are in the heat waves. I think a bunch of people continue to send us content that the snapback is their favorite. We agree. It's snazzy looking and selling quickly. Bunch of beanies, koozies, bucket hats are brand new. The Vault and the Wheel, couple different colors to choose from. And I saw Douglas H. Brown Sr. sporting his mug at his little office space there, which you got to love as well. And he picks us back up with Super Chat, Sarah, for you.
Says, Sarah, you'll appreciate this. It doesn't do any good to talk the talk if you don't walk the walk. Let's go, Voltrons. Well said.
Scott Schonberger is a new channel member, so welcome to official Voltron status, Scott. You now have access or early access to the vaultpod.com, and you can go check out what we have there in our apparel line before Wednesday's official launch. Deshaun Davis says, I got my Vault swag, a t-shirt and a gym shirt. I've recently had to start wearing polos to work with my promotion. Okay, Deshaun. And I just started getting into golf. Think I see a Vault polo coming soon. You already know. I think I'm going to do my second haul today because all those were just updated on Friday, and you and I were traveling and all over the place this weekend. I want a Vault polo. I want a bucket hat for Florida and a couple other things. So, hey, and congratulations on the promotion, by the way, Deshaun.
Absolutely.
Biggie 3, a.k.a. Rave, Sarah, checking in on the Marcus Williams discussion.
He says, W. Mark Williams, not saying he's 100% right, but finally someone to hold his coach staff accountable. # Ben Cleveland. He's still shooting for Ben Cleveland.
And in the minority on the Marcus Williams, based on what I've seen in the live chat, and certainly in the minority in terms of what you and I have already talked about through the first half of the show. Devin Jean-Pierre checking in yet again. He had a hot Friday, Sarah, if you can remember.
Oh, I remember.
And we know, it's hard to forget.
I think he was like over 40 gifts he probably gave.
He was.
Yeah.
It's funny. Asmodeus dropped in a 50 spot and won. Devin dropped in like 10 of them at 5 apiece to get to 50, So there's different ways, same outcome. We appreciate you, Devin. Hope it was an awesome weekend, and thank you for your continued generosity. Oreo Cookie says, I lost 170 pounds in like 15 months. LOL, was 355 at 16. That's insane.
Wow.
We would love some before and afters. Email us, Oreo.
Was it mostly stopping eating Oreo cookies? Is that what did it?
For real. I wonder when the channel was made, right? Was that his favorite snack back in the day? Congrats, Oreo. That's awesome. Transformation, next level. Ravens 54th man, Sarah, checking in on this Monday.
He says 10 days. Hashtag flock 'em up.
Take another one. Oceans.
Remind me, Marcus, what team are you on now? Oh, right.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, we're both rooting for him to be signed, but he remains unsigned at this moment. Park Heights Prophet is signed in, baby. He's checked in and ready to go on this Monday. And as he says, in the form of a $20 super chat with the orange banner, one more day until we start the road to immortality. Everything is in front of us. We just have to remember who we are when it counts the most. Our past dictates nothing, and everything behind is a memory. Let's go, Ravens. Hashtag 20-0. And a message, Sarah, with sentiments to it, as he always does.
See, PHP's just got the right attitude. Like your past, like the past and the playoffs don't have to dictate a single thing. Not a single thing. I love it, PHP.
Symbolic from him, as always. Scott Schonberger. Hopefully I'm not botching this. What do we think it is? Sean or Shan?
Shane?
Oh, you think it's Shane?
Give you a third one. I have no idea.
Scott?
Don't let me derail you.
Son of a Scott, if you could let us know in the chat, is it Shane, Sean, or Shan? Or Scan? It's definitely not Scan. I feel confident about that. It is definitely not Scan. I'm going to go with, just to throw it out there, predictions-wise, I'm going to go with what I had first. I'm going Schonberger. How about you?
Shanberger is my final answer.
Of course you're going Shan. You take it.
Wait. He says right here, Bobby got it right the first one. You were right.
Let's go.
Stop asking me my opinion on pronunciations of names. I'm wrong every single time. I'm pretty sure I'm like 0 for 50 here.
Now I'm fired up. Let's go. Take it. Take Scott, will you?
Okay, Scott. Wait, so what was the right one? Schonberger. Okay, Scott Schonberger. Became a member today. Been watching y'all for months. On tape, Marcus Williams quit on plays mid-play. Blue coverages. He says, good riddance to bad rubbish.
Ooh, Scott keeping receipts, man. D-Rod checking in on this Monday. Daniel Rodriguez with a $10 super chat. The yellow banner attached. Just got off a 6-day cruise and a 19-hour drive back to PA, so happy to be back. Where are you coming from, D-Rod? Season getting closer. Can't wait, and I can't wait to get some vault gear. We can't wait to see you in it. Marcus needs to take accountability.
My guess is Miami, right? Maybe did a cruise, came back to Miami, drove from Miami back home. That's my guess.
Such a big port down there. That would make sense. Yeah. D-Rod, let us know how it was, man. Hope it was awesome. Park Heights Prophet checking in with, on top of the $20 super chat, a 5 gift giving channel Voltron membership gift. We appreciate you, PHP. 5 new subscribers get immediate access to the vaultpod.com. Deshaun Davis for a second time, Sarah.
Says Marcus Williams' downfall was when he played through the pec injury in 23. He's been on downhill spiral ever since.
Well, like we said, though, it was admirable what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
And I don't think anybody was like, oh, like after 2023, I don't think people were like, oh, cut him. No. It was really after 2024 when he was healthy.
And if so, I don't recall that noise at all. If people were talking,
didn't come from us.
Yeah, certainly not. Ray Dog celebrating too. He was definitely like a bounce. You could have a bounce back year, but it wasn't like, hey, kick him to the street.
Yeah.
Ray Dog celebrating 2 months of channel membership, and he writes, "MW Marcus Williams, you don't get bad overnight. Something deeper going on. Trenton Simpson might be next up in the Harbaugh doghouse." Octavian.
Sometimes you do get bad overnight. What happened to Brandon Stevens?
Well, gosh. Yeah.
Or sometimes like Father Time just shows up. So, I mean, it's true, but no, that's true. It's not Father Time.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. With the amount of change, I guess the only ground that he has to stand on is I guess all the change, like the staff changes.
Yeah, no, that's why I try to say, like, for sure, Zach was in his first year, and for sure they didn't re-sign the 2 coaches that were over the secondary. So
yeah. And that's an area that, as we talked about the upgrades recently, we feel like that was an upgrade. You bring in Donald DeLessio from Kansas City, a highly regarded assistant in the secondary, and then you bring in the great Chuck Pagano with NFL head coaching experience. You got to think on paper that's an upgraded area. Octavian hits us with a super chat. What's going on, Oct? Biggie 3, a.k.a. Rave, says, agree, Bobby. I don't know with what. Yes, Marcus wasn't the best. Oh, but the staff was horrible in the beginning. I don't care what anyone says. They was hiring coach help. I agree with Marcus. He's standing on business when it comes to defending Marcus Williams. And there's one more attached. S, they got coach help. Oh, with Marcus. S, they got coach help. Safety, they got coach help. Not true. They fixed stuff. I have no idea what you're saying, Rave, but we appreciate you. You're the man.
Oh, like, is he talking about when they hired not
Dean
Pagano, Dean Pease?
Maybe. Thanks, Rave.
I don't think it's an either or here. When it comes to the early coaching issues. Dre Dog says Marcus's injury set him back. He'll land a job though.
Sorry to cut you off. Biggie 3 says, I'm sorry, Sarah. Brandon sucked.
Brandon Stevens?
I don't know why he's saying sorry. We know that. Zach sucked in the beginning. Marcus was lost. They hired coaching help. Okay, so that's definitely Pease. And John said he started to check the defense out to fix stuff, not because Marcus left. Accountability.
Well, Rave, it goes both ways. Like, you're trying to deflect any accountability off of Marcus. I think we've already, by the way, you don't have to be sorry. I'm glad that you're giving context, but why can't both be called out? We've obviously called out coaching. We've definitely called out Brandon Stevens. Why can't Marcus also be called out? He's part of the changes that made things better.
Devin Jean-Pierre says, wait, who's part of the changes that made things better?
Marcus Williams. All of it. Marcus,
his change to be benched.
Yeah, like Marcus Williams being benched, Trenton Simpson being benched, and bringing in Pease all helped, and moving Kyle Hamilton back and bringing in Ardarius Washington. Yeah. But the bottom line is that Marcus Williams was not part of the solution. He was not.
Yes. The way you articulated it first time around, it felt like the opposite, but I knew what you were saying.
Okay.
Devin Jean-Pierre, on top of the 5-channel membership gift that he gave earlier on in the stream, drops another 5-burger in. Devin is here. We're going to call her, you know what? We're going to start calling him DJP. All right. DJP is in the building. And we appreciate you, Devin, for all your generosity and your gifts these last few days. Deshaun Davis, Sarah, for a third time.
Says, I forgot to mention, I'm very anti-Under Armour, pretty much Nike exclusive, but for the Vault, I'll make an exception.
Okay, I'm definitely curious as to why. Yeah. And just know, just for context, the only Under Armour, if it's the logo that bothers you, or if it's just Under Armour and you don't want the logo to be displayed, one of the 3 options that come in Under Armour do not have the logo for what it's worth on the shirt. So, anyway.
Although I'm not anti-Under Armour.
I'm not either.
I love them for a sponsor too, quite frankly.
I'm not either, yeah. Douglas H. Brown Sr. continues his gifts as he did in the pre-show. He gifts us with 5 channel memberships, so 5 new Voltrons have direct access to thevaultpod.com. Thanks to Douglas's continued efforts to grow this channel. D-Rod is celebrating 4 months of channel membership, Sarah, and he didn't give us the context that we're looking for in terms of where he's coming back from on that vacation, but he did have a compliment for us.
He said, not gonna lie, the merch is fire. LOL, I need me a beanie ASAP. Go for it, Daniel. You're a member. You have access.
I can see it now. He's going to be calling into my channel once I get it fired back up in the coming weeks with that beanie on it. I can't wait. Andrew G writes, petition McAllister for Ring of Honor, please. #dog.
Andrew, come back here and you petition for it. We'll put your comment up on the screen tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. 12:30 tomorrow. Chris McAllister, Super Bowl champ. Ravens legend joins us for an exclusive conversation. Hybrid Theory 5, a 5-burger. 5 new channel Voltrons have been gifted randomly. I saw somebody say earlier on, Sarah, that before he could even get to the renewal process, he was gifted another one. So that's just good fortune because this is totally randomly selected by YouTube in terms of who the recipients are of gifts. Sod Blitz 34 with a super chat checking in.
I was mad we spent that much to sign him, meaning Marcus Williams, prayed we cut him and kept Geno. But if you blame a coach for bad players, you don't know football, period. There is the film.
Look what happened to Geno Stone last year in year 1 after they let him walk in free agency with Cincinnati. Not great. Douglas H. Brown Sr. again. That's 15. So as we start to count, because you know what I think he's doing? I think he's back on his Friday. I was going to say BS because that's a phrase, but he's back on his Friday theme, Sarah, which was matching every gift that comes in to a certain extent. Douglas is up to 15 now, and he's feeling it on this Monday. DHBS Senior, we appreciate you. Lewis with a super chat.
He said, I mean, can we get some meatloaf? Hashtag mama much love.
And you know what? He's looking good too, isn't he? Here he is on the left-hand side. There's Mr. Lewis rocking his Vault merch. We appreciate you, Lewis. You're looking great, my man. Chuck Lund checking in with a donation and a gift. Thank you, Chuck. Great to have you. And we owe you an email. I realized I left it in draft form. He followed up with us this morning. I'm sorry, Chuck. I thought I sent it on Friday, but it was a rather hectic day. My apologies. D-Rod says, you were right, Sarah. Miami Bobby, LOL, with a 5-year-old. It was HE double hockey sticks, I'm sure.
19 hours with the 5-year-old. Boy, have I been there with a 5-year-old and a couple more that were younger. Been there.
Yeah, for real. D-Rod, I hope you're able to get a little bit of enjoyment in that. Just a little bit. Dre Dog 679, Sarah, we know where he stands in terms of the apparel line.
He says, Under Armour is cool. Obviously, Baltimore based. I worked there. Great work environment.
I've heard
Good to know.
Similar. I've actually heard both, to be honest with you, but that's just probably more a product of people's experience than it is the company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we could go to Nike and hear similar stories on both ends.
You could go to any place that employs more than 20 people, and you're going to have people say it's both good and bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Boise's celebrating 3 months of channel membership, and he says for a veteran signed through free agency, weak vanilla type of comment from Marcus Williams to blame schemes and coaches to defend his failures and daydreaming field issues. Biggie 3, Rave is back.
He's back. He is not letting this go. He says Brandon was not overnight, always had a head turn issue, but Brandon was much better in 2023. Much better.
Breakout year for him, and a signature game, by the way, against Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. That did not happen last year. And you had the receipt on Marcus's game against the Bengals. I would love to see Brandon's stats from that game. That was brutal. And one of the main reasons why, when you threw a quick hit in last week, Jamar didn't mention anybody in Baltimore that scares him in the secondary. You know why? Because he torches them every time he plays them. Deshaun Davis says, Nike is like a sports team to me. I'll ride with them until the end. Comfortable and affordable. I wear Nike even down to my socks and shoes. Wow. We're going to have a spoiler alert. We're going to have an awesome quick hit. At least I think it's awesome, of what Nike did after Scotty Scheffler's latest major championship victory yesterday in Ireland, which was awesome. And I think you're going to enjoy it too, Sarah. Douglas H. Brown Sr. is gifting yet another membership because it came in from Chuck, and he is matching every single gift that comes in today, which is incredible and so far from an expectation of ours. We just appreciate you going above and beyond, Douglas. So thank you. Park Heights Prophet, Sarah's checking in with a $10 super chat on top of what he's already done.
PHP says, shout out to Dr. Jason. Bobby, let's hear Ma, the degree.
The degree?
The degree, because Jason became a doctor, I guess.
Oh, I'm
PhD.
Wow.
Try it again.
This just completely went over my head. The medical degree. Thank you, PHP, and congratulations to Dr. Jason. Who is Dr. Jason?
It must have been going on in the chat. I missed it, though.
Okay. Well,
Jason, did he get an MD or PhD is my question.
Somewhere Smitty's like, man, Bobby keeps saying like, who's this, who's that? Put a name on it. No, I don't mean it that way. I just want to know who Dr. Jason is so we can bring his
Chris
comments
says
up.
it's not medical, so you did it wrong again, I think. Do it one more time. One more time.
Shout out Dr. Jason.
There you go.
All right.
PhD in music education. This is Jason Freeman.
Oh, dope. Okay. Congrats, Jason. That's
Ooh.
awesome. And PHP, shout out him for looking out for us. He's like become the moderator in here. Octavian is a new channel membership on top, a new channel member. So an official Voltron now on top of what he already gifted earlier on in the stream. So welcome, Octavian. You can now have access before our official launch to thevaultpod.com. All that information can be found in terms of how you access the site on our recent community post.
Did you say you wanted Brandon Stevens Bengals numbers? Because I found him.
Oh,
They're
Wow.
bad.
I
They're
wasn't actually asking, but give it to me.
bad. The week 5 game, he was targeted 8 times. He gave up 7 receptions on those 8 targets.
8.
61 yards, no touchdowns. So a lot of, I guess, dink and dunk stuff. And then for the Bengals in week 10, he was targeted 7 times, gave up 5 receptions, 41 yards, and no touchdowns. So lots of dink and dunk stuff.
Yeah.
On him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sod Blitz says, don't forget Marlowe called 32 out for freelance. And I put 2 and 2 together on that too. I remember at the time. Sod Blitz 34 is recalling a Marlon Humphrey press conference there or maybe it was a locker room. What do they call those? It's been we got to get into our in-season mode. Scrums. It was I believe it was a post-game scrum, and Sod Blitz might be onto something there. Tyler H. Sarah with a big gift.
Okay, 5 more. Usually you just throw those out. I thought I was going to read something. Thank you, right? Tyler H.
Sometimes I feel like I'm rambling and talking too much. Tyler gifts us with 5. Douglas H. Brown Sr. sees Tyler and he's like, nah, I'm matching that right now to keep up with what he's been up to the last couple days. And Devin Jean-Pierre drops in a 10 spot. He's now up to 20. And guess what? We got an even, I believe. Oh, no, you know what? I forgot. Chuck's was matched by Douglas. So Douglas, by my count, randomly, you might want to check me on this, and we can do it at the end of the show because we got to pivot here. I believe I believe Douglas is up to 21, and I believe DJP is up to 20 now.
They're going head to head like they were on Friday.
We will see after the next topic in terms of where everybody is. Scott Schomburger says y'all need to check out Chris Canty's quarterback rankings this morning. He showed Lamar much love, and Sarah mirrored his thoughts.
Oh, okay, Scott Schomburger. We'll check it out.
Bookmark it. Oreo cookie checking back in.
Says, I emailed the pics. Feel free to show them. Oh, of his weight loss journey. See, if we do that, we got to do it for Rave Kingdom too. We'll get that.
Okay.
We'll do it in quick hits this week.
Okay. Douglas H. Brown Sr., as promised, because DJ Pease came in at 10. Douglas H. Brown Sr. is now at 31 total channel memberships gifted to our audience. It is randomly divvied out, and subscribers who are not members become members because of your generosity. It helps grow this thing. It helps ultimately push this show to new levels, and we really, really appreciate it. I think we should probably, okay, let's just finish here and then pivot.
Sod Blitz comes in saying cone film equals Stevens. Can stick on, can't. What's that?
Sorry, I think he's just referring to a friend of the show and the rookie Bilal.
Yes. Yeah. But that he can stick but can't locate the ball. I don't like to hear that.
Yeah. All right. Well, doesn't even have a training camp under his belt yet and was a day 3 pick for a reason. So there'll be some opportunities for development, hopefully, for Bilal, who was kind enough to spend a few minutes with us earlier on this offseason. That now allows us to get back to the football content. Thank you so much.
Real quick, yes. I just saw a question somewhere in there. I don't know if it was a super or a live, but somebody was asking what the total is now of memberships. I don't know if it's completely up to date, but it has been updating throughout the show. I see us at 753 members right now.
Okay.
Active members.
You see us at 753. We'll go ahead and we will look back into that in the next few minutes.
Yeah, started the show when I first looked at it just under 700. So it's been updating throughout the show. I just don't know if it's got, the absolute latest. But we're definitely in the neighborhood.
And for those who care about another milestone, we are 16 subscribers away from 25,000. Would love to hit that number early this week to coinciding with the start of training camp. And Sarah, just to be clear, I'm with you on that as well. 753 is where we currently sit right now with my biggest online Twitter troll. This is hilarious, becoming our latest channel member, assuming that he's got the same handle. That is hilarious. We'll talk about that later on. Okay, where to, partner?
Where to? Okay, so Bobby, listen, we've talked about how this roster is pretty darn set up. But there's always a few questions, especially around this time of year, because we know that Eric DaCosta loves to find himself a bargain, and it usually happens heading into training camp or in training camp. And so there are lots of questions going on in the fan base of who else could be out there, some last minute signings that could really give some depth to this team, maybe help it go over the top as they go into what they hope is a playoff turn into Super Bowl run. Now, first things first, it's not just fans talking about it. Even Lamar Jackson is talking about it a little bit. At IMJ Oliver on Instagram and elsewhere, if you do not know, he is a Baltimore-born producer. He's been, I think, nominated for Grammys and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, he tagged Lamar Jackson and said, man, we're trying to get Matthew Judon back over there, meaning Baltimore, and make this push with 2 crossing finger emojis. And Lamar puts that in his story. And he says, Baltimore is home, and also puts up a crossing finger emoji with fire and one of those purple demon emojis. And so it had people thinking, wait a minute, is Lamar in on this, putting on his recruiting hat again, this and that? Now, Bobby, I don't know. These guys, Lamar always loves to have a former player. He obviously loves his current teammates, but, I'm sure he's not against bringing in more people for this run. Well, I guess before I get to it, I'm going to have Jeff Zrebiec talk about the outside linebacker position. He recently did a mailbag where he was asked, do you think that they'll still augment the pass rusher room? But what was your reaction to seeing Lamar put this up?
Yeah, typical Lamar. We've come to see this. Yeah, he can be a Ravens GM type figure, as we learned during the Jair Alexander process, whether that was a PR stunt or not. This is just how he does it. This is him having good fun on social media. Perhaps he actually feels like they could improve with Matthew Judon. He remains unsigned out there, as a couple other players that you're about to get to in Jeff's piece do as well. At this point in the process, it's getting down to the wire. Training camps begin for most teams in the next 24 hours in terms of full veterans reporting and everybody being off and running. Judon spent the last couple of years in a couple different teams. Last year in Atlanta, production fell off. Prior to that, New England, after the Ravens let him walk, paid him handsomely in free agency, and he produced for the Patriots in his early years there. All of a sudden, Matt and this was a kind of a diamond in the rough that they went and found out of Grand Valley State University. He's now 32. So this would be sort of your Justin Houston, Kyle Van Noy, even though he has far exceeded expectations. Jason Pierre-Paul. This would be that type of signing at some point in the late summer. And I don't know if it would. I think it would surprise me a little bit. He didn't necessarily leave on great terms, from what I heard during the tail end there. But not that matters now. It's been many years, and there's lots of change. And so I guess I just wasn't surprised by the exchange, is what I should say. And that's what you asked me about.
Players always want more players, and like let the coaches work out the rest. Now, Jeff Zrebiec wasn't asked specifically about Matt Judon, but he was asked about this type of player, right? A former Raven who has produced for the Ravens and happened to be out there. And so I think that we can put Matt Judon kind of in this answer for Jeff Zrebiec. I don't want to speak for him, but I'm imagining you could apply it to him. And so he was asked if Jadeveon Clowney or Zarius Smith, does he see either of them coming back to Baltimore, either before or during camp? And so this is how Jeff responded. He says the Ravens like their young edge rushers and believe they need to play to appropriately develop. I don't think they want to reduce the snaps of Kyle Van Noy, Odafe Owe, and Tavius Robinson any more than the presence of Mike Green and a healthy Adisa Isaac already could. Okay. So he's saying, hey, these top 3, they want to give them their snaps unless it's Mike Green or Adisa Isaac just shooting up. And it's got to be Mike Green. It's got to be. Okay. So he says you can never have enough pass rushers, but adding Clowney or Zadarius Smith, and I would add Matt Judon, would impact what production you get from the guys you already have. You can only play so many guys. I'd include an asterisk next to my answer and wouldn't rule it out because I could see a scenario in which the Ravens use the first few weeks of training camp to evaluate the young edge rushers. If they don't think they're ready to make an impact, they could turn to Clowney or Smith, and I'll add Judon. Completely agree with Jeff. I think that the Ravens want to keep their top 3 guys, are leaving room for the guys they've drafted, and it actually would be a bad sign if they had to go out and sign Judon or Za'Darius or Clowney, because it means, we don't have enough faith in these young guys to produce. Or it would mean there's an injury to one of those top 3 guys he named in Van Noy, Odafe, or Robinson.
Yeah. And you'd like to think after that few week sample size comes and goes for the Ravens brass to take a look at what they have, that at least one of these 3, we're putting Judon into the category, like you mentioned, of Clowney and Smith. You'd like to think that one of these 3 at that point in the process, so let's call it a month from now, will still be available.
It's just so many out there, so why would you even need a rush?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, just to keep on this idea of signings, okay, Jeff was asked about Isaiah Likely. Obviously, that is an extension that we're all watching and we all think will probably come down at some point. Jeff was asked if he thinks that Isaiah Likely, if the Ravens will offer Isaiah Likely top 5 tight end money. Bobby, we somewhat addressed this last week. I think another tight end got paid, and it was like, ooh, where would Isaiah Likely fall, given the fact that he's never had the opportunity to put up tight end 1 numbers. But we all feel like he could put up tight end 1 numbers. So how do you pay such a player? This is what Jeff says. He says they're probably going to have to pay top 5 tight end money, or at least come close. The tight end market is only going to increase every offseason. When you sign these deals with ascending players, you have to bet on potential. You can't just pay a player for what they have done. Your offer in some ways has to also reflect what they're capable of doing. And I'll say this, if they don't pay Likely top 5 tight end money, somebody else will, and they'll likely lose him in free agency. I think they will, Bobby.
Yeah. Because somebody will realize, wow, he's been productive, but wow, he's been untapped.
Yeah.
There's so much untapped potential that we as an organization feel like we can bring out of him. And I'm sure the Ravens feel that way too, that there's a lot more that he has left to give. And that's what's exciting about it, especially knowing that your former All-Pro is coming back for one more crack at it as well in Mark Andrews. And oh, by the way, Charlie Kolar is pretty darn valuable as well in a lot of ways, especially as a blocker. So I don't think there's any question that this is the deepest tight end in the entire league, the deepest tight end room that is in the entire league.
Fantastic tight end room. Fantastic. Just want to see Isaiah Likely get more opportunities. I think a lot of people feel that way. Okay, so this brings us to kicker, because we've talked about one of the concerns we still have going into training camp is the kicker position, given what Justin Tucker has been prior to the 2024 season, just, automatic. And the reports coming out of OTAs and minicamp weren't great for Tyler Loop. So he was first asked about how much, if Loop doesn't get it together, or even John Hoyland, who's been in there competing. Jeff basically says, I won't read the whole thing, but he says, I think the Ravens deserve the benefit of the doubt because they've been so good at the specialist positions in kicker. And he says, I think that one of these 2 guys will turn it around, but if not, he goes, I do think the Ravens will be able to find somebody who can. So he's asking for benefit of the doubt there. But what about this? Somebody asks, well, if the Ravens are struggling at kicker through week 11, would they consider a Justin Tucker reunion? Week 11 is because he's already been suspended for the first 10 weeks of the season after the NFL did an investigation into sexual misconduct allegations from massage therapists throughout the Baltimore area. I think like 17 of them. And so he's asking if they haven't gotten it fixed by week 11 when he's no longer under suspension, would the Ravens reconsider Tucker? So this is what Jeff says. Well, by maintaining that cutting Tucker was a football decision, the Ravens kept the door open for a reunion, right? If it was because of the investigation, then it doesn't matter how well he's playing or not. or whoever is playing, then like bringing him back would be wrong. But because they maintain it was a football decision, he says the door's left open. That said, don't go run with that, okay? Because Jeff says still they'd have to be in a pretty tough spot to make that call. I might be in the minority here, but I believe Tucker will kick again in the NFL. All indications are that he wants to. That's the reason he accepted the league's 10-week ban, knowing the only chance he had to get back in the league was to get the suspension behind him. It will take 3 things, Jeff says. 1, he'll have to kick well in a workout and show his issues last year were a blip. 2, he'll need a legitimate playoff contender to have a major issue at kicker in the second half of the season. And 3, he'd probably need to go to a team with a stable and well-respected general manager and head coach who could handle the criticism they'd likely get for bringing him in. All 3 of those things definitely are needed. Bobby, I'd have a hard time believing that even if the Ravens are in a tough spot come week 11, that they'd re-sign Justin Tucker, even though, as Jeff said, football-wise, they left the door open.
Yeah. It would have to be dire. But I do think there will be another team.
Yes.
That's in plenty of
Who
their
also
own.
being dire. Yeah.
There's going to be at that position with how impactful it is, with how game deciding it can be. There's going to be a team that needs his services several months from now, and I do believe he'll be ready. So we'll be watching that closely.
Okay, last one from Jeff on the signing kind of topic. You can read his full mailbag at The Athletic, and there's a 2-part series. First half is about offense, second half offense and coaching. The second half is defense and other miscellaneous things. But
Jeff's the man.
Jeff is the man. He's the most plugged in to the Ravens for sure. He was asked if he's heard anything about the negotiations with Lamar Jackson. And Jeff isn't trying to pretend that he's more plugged in than he is. So he just
This is why
straight
you
up
love him,
says,
though, right?
This is why you love
Jeff.
Because
We
he's
can
not going
all.
to put out information to make himself look plugged in. He's going to give you what he has. Okay?
Yeah.
This is what he has. Do you know anything about the negotiations, Jeff? He says, no. No, I'm not hearing anything. And that's consistent with all things related to Jackson and his contract talks with the Ravens. When a few things got out during the negotiations a few years ago, it ticked Jackson off and complicated things. General Manager Eric DeCosta and the Ravens officials have worked hard to earn and maintain Jackson's trust, and leaks or even clumsy public comments about the negotiations are viewed as a breach of that. I know DeCosta and Jackson have met this offseason to discuss his contract. I know the Ravens believe Jackson deserves to be the highest paid quarterback in football. Anything beyond that, like the deal Jackson is looking for, what the Ravens are offering, and whether there's been any progress made, I don't have a good feel for it. So, and I don't think anybody does, because if anybody did, it would be all over ESPN and NFL Network and Pat McAfee, everywhere. It would be everywhere if anybody had an inkling of what was going on.
This is why you trust Jeff to the end of the earth right here. Because when you're an insider, it's really hard to admit what he just admitted. But when it comes to Lamar, that's life. That is what he and his camp have perfected. It has been a masterclass of privacy, professionalism, and just uniqueness for how they do business over his last 7-8 years here. Back to Super Chats.
Back to Super Chats.
All right. Let's see. We left off with, it was probably Douglas. Nope, it was Saad Blit. Wait a second here. Let's see.
It would have been a good guess if it was Douglas.
I know, right? Exactly. That's what I went with. Actually, no, I think we're actually pretty caught up here. It's just Oceans. I'll let you take this.
Oh, okay. Oceans, you seen the throwbacks for Steelers? OMG. Hold on a second. I think I did see it come through my timeline, but I didn't look at it. Wait, that might not be the one because somebody was comparing them. It's not the Bumblebee ones, is it? Please tell me it's not the Bumblebee ones.
I think they just dropped it, didn't they? Like earlier today, Oceans. Let us know.
Yeah, I know I saw it come through. Here we go. Let me share my screen. Okay, so it's not the Bumblebee ones. Those ones were definitely horrendous. So at least we can say that. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Actually, let's see if I can go here. Can you, sorry, take Oceans off for a second so we can see it. So there's the helmet.
Oops.
Oh, I mean, I guess it's a tiny step up from the Bumblebee ones. Okay. Those are some, what is that? Khaki colored pants? A lot of mustard looking stuff. And it looks like it's like half a referee. Kind of, you know how you have the vertical stripes? But then once it hits the middle, it becomes a V-neck? I don't know what's going on here.
Neither. But they're going for the retro look. I know that. Retro and mustard.
Was that what they used to wear though?
I don't know. It just comes across as retro to me.
I mean, it's tough to make like grown athletes, the best athletes in the world, not look great. But
you're not a fan of it?
Are you?
I don't know. I guess I'm just sort of indifferent about it. Let's learn more about it. Here's a clip of a breakdown.
Okay, yeah, let's learn more about it. Here we go.
Gold helmet. This reimagined helmet design features a gray mask and is it mate? Yellow finish, honoring a combination of the Steelers.
Matte gold helmet.
Okay, so neither one of them.
Yeah. I finally knew one.
Steelers uniform history with inspiration. All right, hold on. This reimagined helmet design features a gray mask and matte yellow finish, honoring a combination of the Steelers' uniform history with inspiration from the 30s and 60s. Okay. They've got 1933 jersey stripes, which is what you mentioned. Okay. Black striping pattern with black trimmed, oversized white block numbers, bringing the team's original uniform, so yes, to answer your question, to modern league standards. Classic block numerals. Oversized black block numbers fill the jersey back for a two-tone black and gold color combination. City crest. The Pittsburgh City crest, the cornerstone of this historic jersey, sits on the left chest, honoring the team's heritage and connection to the Steel City. And the 1933 pants, which are beige, emulate the origins of the 33 khaki uniform with a remastered Nike design for a modern athletic fit.
Okay, I'm seeing those vertical stripes from 1933. Now I see it.
So they're paying homage. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. All I care is what the scoreboard says at the end of the game.
Well, if it's anything like what they did to him in January, then you'll be in good shape. Just to follow up, our girl, Josina Anderson, just dropped something with Jadavian Clowney. She had a chance to catch up with the free agent pass rusher, and he says, hey, I'm still planning to play this season. And you see what he told her in quotes. I've been keeping in touch with 4 to 5 teams. Not much else besides that.
Classic. That's so classic. Not from almost all veterans that are trying to get signed right before training camp, but classic from Jadavian because he's been down this road. He knows when to drop little things like that right before training camp. He's like, okay, just somebody needs to make a move now because training camp's starting. So, if he's talking to one guy, he's trying to like put pressure on him to be like, hey, I'm talking to somebody else too, so you better sign me or else I'm going.
You already know. You already know. Speaking of training camp, here you go. Yeah. You got your schedule listed out for the next few days.
Oh, yeah. So I won't go through all of it. You can go to my Twitter account where I just put up who's speaking when this week. But obviously the report tomorrow, no practice tomorrow. And then Mark Andrews, Nnamdi Madubuike, and Ronnie Stanley will speak tomorrow at 4 p.m. Then Wednesday's the day, Bobby, where camp begins. It's actual practice. There will be a ramp-up period. There will probably be no pads. Going to ease them in. It's all based off of the rules collectively bargained between the NFLPA and the NFL. But Wednesday at approximate 3:45, these are always approximate. It's whenever practice is done. Practices are starting about 2 p.m. every day. We get ourselves Lamar Jackson on Wednesday. You got your head coach, John Harbaugh, running back, future Hall of Famer, Derrick Henry, and then the leader of the defense, Roquan Smith. Other guys that you might be excited to hear from. I'm excited to hear from Jair Alexander on Thursday, among other people. Kyle Hant, we got the safeties on Friday, along with Tyler Linderbaum. And then Saturday, we get a lot of the coordinators. We got Munkin and Orr, and then Chris Horton and DeAndre Hopkins thrown in there. So it is all the big names we will be hearing from this week starting tomorrow. Let's go training camp.
In other news, if you feel like the show has been, filled with content, it's about to be overflowing with content over the next couple of days, and we look forward to being back really into our flow of things. So that's what's coming up. Marlon Humphrey with a little ode here to Steve Bisciotti. Sarah, looks like yet another offseason of renovations and continued investments at one winning drive.
This is pretty dope. I got a video of this.
Boy, I tell you what. Well, we done up the game over here at the Raven. We right to the field.
It looks like a hotel, Sarah. That's immaculate.
It's nice, Bobby. This has drastically changed since I was employed there in 2018 when he's talking about all these renovations. I mean, it's crazy because I started there in 2005 and it was like right after it was built. Like it was a brand new, beautiful building. And you'd think that 20 years later, you wouldn't have to even touch it. But Steve Bisciotti does not mess around. He does not like to be viewed as cheap. He does not like to be viewed as like not being at the top of anything and everything. And so, my goodness, so for the audio only, he's showing video of a brand new like laps in a swimming pool that is right next to, on the other side of these windows, Bobby, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing there's some of the training room is in there. And I guess they may have extended outdoors. I really would like to see it in person because it looks like it's changed quite a bit. I mean, when I was there, they just had a couple of like little plunge pools, and now there's that. There's that.
Yeah.
And like you said, going right out, looking on the field, it's pretty nice.
Big time.
Pretty nice.
Big time. You brought this one in. More Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson phenomenons.
This is crazy. So at Football Insights on X put up a graphic that shows rushing attempts against stacked boxes. So 8 defenders or more. So not surprising, the 2 running backs that had to face stacked boxes the most was Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. But Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson back there faced it a lot more. And that's why you see him way up in the upper right-hand corner. He rushed a lot against him, and he got a lot of rushing yards over expected. I mean, he's basically about to burst off the chart. So, Ravens, I'm sure we'll see it again. But it's not working, so maybe they should try something else because it's not working.
Saquon, you think Saquon's out in front of the pack? Derrick's in another area code.
Stratosphere.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. Yeah. Latest on Cincy from Schefter. Bengals rookies report to training camp. That's today. And Shamar Stewart is now the lone unsigned first-round pick from this year's draft class. So let the drama continue to unfold, Sarah, with the guaranteed money haggling that's clearly going on and the clause that they tried to slip into Shamar's contract that he and his camp are trying to call their bluff. And we'll see how much longer this standoff continues.
Well, it could very well hurt them in terms of starting fast again, which I know they want to do. And then over the weekend, they also signed another backup quarterback, Desmond Ridder. We know that was originally drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. Started for 2 years, did not go well for him. His connection to Cincinnati, obviously he played for the Cincinnati Bearcats, and Zach Taylor, who's the current head coach of the Bengals, was the offensive coordinator at the time in 2016. So he'll come in, Desmond Ridder will, and he will compete with Jake Browning and Peyton Thorne to see if he can take up the number 2 backup role to Joe Burrow. But just like anybody, if Joe Burrow goes down, Lamar Jackson goes down, both teams are done for. Desmond Ridder isn't changing that.
Yeah, even though Browning's actually put some decent film on tape from last time that Burrow went down, but Ridder will definitely give him a little bit of competition. Jordan Schultz on top of this on Kansas City, the Chiefs and George Karlaftis, their standout defensive end, finalized a 4-year extension. It's 4 years, $22 million APY. Incentives can get them to 23.25, but Kansas City continues to pay their own, Sarah.
Yep, because they just signed one of their guards last week, which we covered. Yes, Trey Smith, and Patrick Mahomes was obviously very happy about it. But I also brought this in because we talked last week where we asked ourselves, would you sign Odafe Owe to 4 years, about $22 million per year? And that was based off of Russell Street Reports. What's our guy's name?
Dev?
No.
Dev Panchwa?
No. At Ravens salary cap. Why am I forgetting his name?
Brian McFarland.
Brian McFarland was like, He's like, hey, I think this is about where it would be. This is the market. Well, yep, you were right, Brian McFarland. Again, that it's going to be about $22 million per year to get a pass rusher. So the question remains, would the Ravens pay that to Odafe Oweh? And my answer remains, it depends on what Mike Green does this year.
Yeah, for sure. Philly, bling, bling.
Why don't I just take a moment here and get ready for this slide, Bobby?
Audio only. Eagles,
see it.
Super Bowl champion Eagles were presented their Super Bowl rings from last year, and there's a whole lot of what's this made out of?
Bling, diamonds, white,
it
platinum,
looks diamond.
gold. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's pretty dope. And here, let me show you a video of it because it actually has springs inside, because on the sides you can extract out. Yes. And I'm surprised you haven't seen this yet. It was all over social media. Look at this thing. Diamonds and platinum, I'm assuming.
Incredible.
Then on the inside, it has the scores of their wins in the playoffs. They've got 2 Lombardi trophies with the Eagles. Bobby, all I'm going to say, it was definitely dope. It does look a lot like the Ravens one, which I have on my finger right now.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm always looking for excuses to bring this out. Why not do it when the Eagles get their new Super Bowl ring?
Hold on, trying to get you.
There you go. Boom. This ring is obviously about as big as my whole, what is that part of this ring finger here? It also, I wish I could bring it in more, but then it just gets blurry. Is it still?
Yeah.
It's focusing in on you? It's working. It's working. Yeah. There we go. Okay. 2 Lombardi trophies with the Ravens logo over top of it. World champions. Lots of diamonds. You saw on theirs they had Jalen Hurts' name. I've got Ellison on there. Let's go, Ellison. My kids are already fighting over who gets this when I die, which is kind of not cool, but
yeah,
Gardner, I think, wants it the most. Here on this side is 2012, and you've got the Superdome where the Ravens won. So very similar to the Eagles. On the inside, I don't know if you can see it, but on the inside, it also has the playoff scores of all the games they won. And just like the Eagles had their mantra on there for that year, the Ravens had the team. It's in there. What is not here, and maybe it's just because it's me, maybe we'll have to look at players, but I did see on the Eagles one, they had a engraved signature of Hurts on his. I do not have on my engraved signature. And we do not have on this, where you could hit it and then the springs come out and then it extracts. We do not have that. But other than that, the 2 rings look very similar. So just had to bring this back out.
I love it.
Yeah.
Any chance you get, you got to take it.
Right?
And that was pretty cool on the house tour that I got during the inaugural Vault Summit to throw that on my ring finger.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick. So
pretty heavy, isn't it, Bobby?
It is.
You get it and you're like, boom.
Yeah. And there's nobody that's getting anywhere close to that thing in your house if they don't know where it is, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's definitely in the safe.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
And finally, a quick hit, because any chance I get to throw in a golf milestone, I'm taking it. Scotty Scheffler, Sarah, is on a Tiger Woods kind of run right now. He won his 4th major championship and 2nd this year in Ireland yesterday. It's the British Open. There he is with his son Bennett. And I thought Nike, just as it typically does with these one-liners, knocked it out of the park. You've already won on the left slide with he and Bennett just hanging out and his son crawling. And on the other side, but another major never hurt. So, Sarah, he's made rounds in the last week or so because his pre-major championship press conference consisted of really a 5-minute monologue on why golf and winning does not fulfill his deepest desire and desires. And I thought it was as thoughtful of an answer that I can remember in recent memory from a professional athlete, period. And for him to be experiencing this kind of success and be on this kind of sustained run and speak like that, almost as if to say, after 5 minutes, the lure of winning, the jubilation kind of fades, because he's a man of faith, he's a man of family, and those are the 2 things that come before golf. I know that's something you can resonate with, that resonates with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I bring it up for a number of different reasons. One, he's on a Tiger-esque run. And 2, he goes ahead and says those viral comments in the days leading up to the major championship and then goes and laps the field and wins easily. It was the most like demoralizing. If you're a peer of his, it's got to be so incredibly demoralizing. Golf is essentially secondary to him in his life, and yet nobody's touched him on this ridiculous run over the last couple of years. So that is Scotty Scheffler, and I'll leave you with this. The days between Tiger's first and fourth major win, and you know, Sarah, these guys, in terms of greatness and history, are measured by their major championship wins. The days between Tiger's first win and his fourth win, 1,197. The same exact that Scotty just did his first and fourth in yesterday. Insane to think about.
Wow.
And quite a run right now in professional golf. So.
Wow. I knew none of that, which does not surprise you because I do not follow golf. But I do know that a majority of athletes who become the best at what they do, there's something greater driving them. Obviously, you have to be all in and sacrifice for the sport, but there's something usually bigger that grounds them to help them maintain that greatness. And you articulated it pretty well there. Was that your one more thing?
Yeah.
Or you just wanted to put it in there? I don't know.
Do you have one today?
Well, I just thought we would talk about our weekends, like how was Cooperstown and the lake for you, and whoa, we got to do about 1 minute each because I do need to go at exactly 1:30.
Yeah, and I'll just say this: I agree with a lot of people in the chat. Just to wrap up that Tiger segment, the Scotty's segment, he is not Tiger Woods. He's on a Tiger-esque run right now. Tiger sustained it for years and years and years. Scotty's been sustaining it for a couple of years now. We'll see how it all ends up, but golf's in a great place right now, just in terms of the popularity. My weekend was great. I had a chance to go to my childhood summer home. We summered essentially a good portion of July in Cooperstown, New York. My father is from there. It's a really special place. We still have a very small cottage on the lake. Luckily, very blessed to have some lakefront property, and it was awesome. We rented a boat. I had a buddy from college, buddy from high school joined me. Great weather, great people. The Baseball Hall of Fame is coming up this weekend, so it was the calm before the storm there. We walked through the streets. It was a really quaint town, and got to see some people that I hadn't seen in a long time. So I really enjoyed it. How was yours? And you got to see your oldest who you hadn't seen in 6 weeks, which is a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. So Gardner turned 16 on Saturday, which is bananas. Not only does it open up for him, Bobby, getting a driver's license, although we'll have to do it when he comes back. But in my house, I don't let my kids have social media until they turn 16. And so this is a big birthday milestone for him. But for those who don't know, Gardner, for the summer, well, it's a 6-week camp. He's been there for 4 weeks. He's at this military camp that my husband went to, my husband's brother, and my husband's father. So it's like a big deal to them. And it's not what you would think. Sometimes you hear military camp and you would think, oh, they're basically at base camp. It's really, really fun. And my kids, I took my other 3 kids out there to see him because it was parents' weekend and family weekend. So we were allowed to be there, and they had this big parade for us and all this kind of stuff. And now all 3 of my kids want to go. So they will all get that chance when they hit the appropriate age. But I'll just say it was really satisfying as a mom to see like the maturity that's happened in just 4 weeks, because as much as fun as it is, it's also a leadership camp, and they have like inspections, and they have like these dorm rooms. And I'll have to show you pictures. Like there's like, they have to make their beds a very specific way. Like the folded sheets has to be in one part 8 inches. You have to have the corners perfect. You got to have this and that. And I'm like, my son did this. Like my son has made his bed better than I've ever done in my life. And I'm now going to need like lessons from him. He was in this parade where, it's a military camp. So he's got these rifles, and he was part of the drill team. And to watch him, like, have you seen the beginning of A Few Good Men from back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Like it's that type of thing that they have to do. And to watch him do that, and they're like standing in the sun for like hours, and he just sits there and he's at attention, and it's like, holy cow, that's my son again. And just other things that he said and did. We got to take him off campus for 4 hours on Saturday. He asked to go to a movie. So we went to a movie. We saw Superman, and we got to get him again a little bit on Sunday. And so just the way he was talking, all that kind of stuff, is just like, holy cow, 4 weeks has made him grow up. And what's also funny is that he originally didn't want to go, and now he can't. He was just talking about going back next year and taking his brother and this and that. So Really good weekend with the family. The 6 of us back together again. It was a great weekend and fun to celebrate his 16th birthday.
He's an awesome kid. Guardy Party. Great guy. I look forward to seeing Gardner Ellison pop up on my social media. That's going to be next level when that follow hits.
That's right. But I don't think he wants Instagram. I'm going to have to get on Snapchat. That's mostly what he wants.
Well, good. Because
he knows there can be no burner accounts. I get to follow him, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he'll be on social media. So
I look for. Just let him know. I'm probably one of the oldest that's still on Snapchat, so I'll see him over there. I look forward to seeing you, Gardy. Toey and Steven, thank you both for believing in what we're building. This is your monthly shout out because you guys are patrons and you've been supporting us through Patreon for months now. So thank you for the support. Now you have access. Hopefully you guys have already figured that out to thevaultpod.com as we kind of get down to the tail end of our soft launch. Wednesday at midnight, so really Tuesday night into Wednesday morning is when it's now made available to the general public. And that again is thevaultpod.com. All that information can be found in the show notes below. If you could on your way out, please like the video. Subscribe if you haven't, because we are coming up on 25,000. We're 14 out now, Sarah, from hitting a pretty big milestone, a quarter of 100,000. So if we could get that from you on the way out, we would appreciate it. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member.
People are asking for concurrence, Bobby.
Yep. Over 2,300, Tila. So thank you for that reminder. Devin Jean-Pierre, Sarah, as if what he had done prior wasn't enough. He drops in another 5 spot. So 5 more channel Voltrons and memberships have been donated. So thanks to DJP, thanks to Douglas, thanks to everybody who was super active on this Monday. Sarah, tomorrow it begins. Veterans Report. And then on Wednesday, you and I will be celebrating a number of things, including the official drop of our apparel line to everybody. We've had our tweaks. We've had our opportunities for adjustments and feedback. We're still taking that feedback at email, BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com. But we look forward to rolling this thing out to all of you and continuing to hopefully receive messages on our social media accounts and by email of all of you rocking your gear. And again, needless to say, we can't wait to hear from more of you. So please tag us, please email us, and let us know what you think of your packages that have hopefully been delivered in recent days. Anything more from you before we jump?
No, sir.
All righty. Tuesday it begins. We're back tomorrow in under 23 hours from right now. This feels short, 90 minutes. Imagine that, 90 minutes feels short. That's what we've been on lately.
And just wait for the content to hit from training camp. Oh, boy.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It is coming, and it is coming in hot. All begins tomorrow. Chris McAllister will be with us to celebrate, coming up at 12:30 tomorrow. Mark your calendars accordingly, and Sarah and I will catch you then. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Monday Ravens Vault episode, a lunch hour live stream. We'll catch you tomorrow, and as always, Voltrons, we appreciate you for spending some time with us here inside the vault. We'll talk to you soon.